It seems the meta has shifted again. Did it need to? Probably not, because we had the XM4 for 20 years, and then we had the Model L for a couple weeks. And I would have been okay with continuing the Model L meta for a while longer, but I'm happy to change it up again. That's fine. As far as primaries go, it seems like the overwhelming consensus is that the Cypher is the new meta. And it's fun. It's fun to use. It's a great gun. I really like it. And unlike the XM4, it is probably the strongest option, but it's balanced. It's not disgusting. So you don't have a 3000 RPM fire rate, making it extremely forgiving. You don't have 2000 meters per second bullet velocity like the Model L had, which I kind of miss, but whatever. And you don't have a 100 round mag that reloads in 1 millisecond. You have a bog standard mag size, bog standard handling, bog standard fire rate, and it has some recoil. It's not insane. It's controllable. You can use it. Why it's meta, but it's not like an EM2 or anything. But it's a welcome change. I don't know if I like it necessarily better than the Model L meta or worse. I think it's just different, and that's totally fine. Spice it up, mix it up. Let's get mixy, because nothing else is happening in the game until season 3. So I'll take a little weapon meta shift, and it actually really matters when it comes to primaries, unlike secondaries, because that's most of the time what you're going to be shooting and using. So I've been enjoying it. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I think the Cypher is really fun. It's more, the Model L is fine. Yeah, we could have had that meta for longer without issue, but glad they changed it up a little bit. Cypher is more enjoyable for me. It's just one of those guns that has that nice fire rate, sounds good, it looks cool, all of it just overall feels good. So I like it a lot. I haven't used my own custom one a ton in Warzone. I'll get them often from like you guys, or I would kill somebody that had it, but I've used it a lot in multiplayer and it's really good there as well. And I was using it in Plunder last night, just getting it up another like 10 levels or so. It was really good there, but hard to gauge because most people aren't fully played it, and they're also the worst players you've ever came across in your life.
Yeah, that's the DMZ refugees are there.
Yeah. So, it feels really good though, and I'm excited to, continue using this. This is one of those guns that could be meta for like a whole season easily, and it would be a blast, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd be totally fine with that. Because it's balanced, and there's a skill gap. It has enough recoil to where there's a skill gap, but not so much that it's unusable.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of how that gun specifically is balanced. Like, that's a good gun to have as like the meta. Because the DTIR or the STG from last year, like those were meta guns, and they felt good to use, but they were too good. They weren't fun. It wasn't a fun meta. Everyone was biffle. Like, no one missed bullets ever. They were too easy to use. So now it's like, this is really the sweet spot. I'm very happy with it. And it also brings up, should you use a silencer or a compensator, for example? That's like, we might talk about that more later, but I'm going to kind of table that for now. But one thing I will say about it that absolutely takes some getting used to, and I've actually changed my build because of it, it has a lot less bullet velocity than the Model L, and it has a lot slower of a fire rate than the XM4. So when you combine those things, you're going to realize it's also harder to use for that reason. It's harder to like get good hit reg or good feeling hit reg. There are a couple of ways around this. You can't boost the fire rate. You can by running rapid fire, but don't do that, obviously, because it also ruins your damage and damage range and recoil. So you're slowing your slowing is a fun word though. Time to kill. Don't run rapid fire, duh, on anything. So that's out. Or you can increase the bullet velocity, which you actually can do. So some people are running like compensator plus the bullet velocity fire mod, overpressured, I believe it's called. That's a way to do it.
Yep.
Another thing you could do if you want to like keep your silencer is run recoil springs, but then run the only bullet velocity barrel instead of reinforced barrel, which gives you bullet velocity and damage range. It just gives you less bullet velocity than the, I believe it's called gain twist, which is bullet velocity only. So like if you really wanted to get giga max velocity, you would run overpressured, and gain twist barrel. That's max velocity you can get. And then, since you're missing a recoil attachment there from recoil springs, you'd run a compensator. So you'd be going loud. Or if you're nuts, you can just run a silencer and those two. I think that's definitely usable. I just feel like for myself, that's causing me to miss too many more shots at long range to where it's not worth, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. So I have been running silencer / compensator. I still don't know. Plus recoil springs always and gain twist barrel always. And that's like enough, but it's still going to be less bullet velocity in the Model L. So if you feel like you don't like it, or it feels bad or weird, or you're not getting hit reg, it's because you're not used to how low its bullet velocity is, and you should change that. Yeah. Because it's like sub 1000 if you run reinforced barrel and no overpressured, which feels pretty shit. So, yeah. Change one of those.
Yeah.
And then with the SMGs, meta's quite good here as well. C9 got a little bit of a nerf, but I still see most people probably using that. But there are a lot of options that are good. PPSH, absolutely in the conversation. A lot of people have been using the KSV. I don't know how warranted that is, but it's not unusably bad or something. Time to kill's probably fine on it. PPSH, I don't know if I just mentioned that, but I may or may not have. But that time to kill is the best, but it's also just feels like shit to shoot it, in my opinion. So a lot of people don't run that.
Yeah, unless you're like really close.
Yeah, exactly. It's too extra. And then something I've been running lately is the compact, actually. I think it might have gotten a buff. I'm not sure. But because the C9 got nerfed, which was the dominant SMG, you kind of got to reevaluate all the subs because it's all relative, right? So the compact has really high fire rate, frankly, a lot of recoil, not a lot, but a good amount. I'd say maybe equivalent to the Jackal, maybe a little bit more, but it has some unique advantages. 60 round mag, which is a lot. So that's good. More than PPSH even. Has a very high fire rate, so it's quite forgiving. And also, it has a barrel that has an integrated suppressor. So if you're a big suppressor enjoyer, you can run that barrel, and it gives you a suppressor without having to run a muzzle suppressor slot. So you're getting 2-for-1 attachment there. And it gives you damage range and bullet velocity. So that's a really good attachment, especially if you run silencers anyway, because now you're getting 2 attachments for the price of 1. And then that can free you up to run like recoil springs to tamp down on the recoil a little bit. And in my opinion, the irons are good on this, maybe quite good. So Jitsi or Jake, you tell me if you disagree, because you haven't produced an example yet, but I like the compact iron sights on controller. If I were on KBAM, they would almost certainly be unusable because the gun bounces. But at least with the integrated suppressor barrel, you don't get a bunch of muzzle flash or smoke. You get actually basically none. So irons are usable with that easily on controller, and may or maybe not on KBAM. I'm actually not really sure. But it's a fun little gun. And it reloads, I think, faster than the PPSH does also. Not much faster, but I think it's notably faster, which is also very helpful.
Yeah, I haven't tried it with the irons. I thought I've seen the irons, and I thought they were abysmal, but I really don't remember. So every time I've ever used the compact, it's been with an optic. So I don't think I really know. Do the irons kind of look like HRM irons, but worse? It's like kind of that same shape somewhat?
I don't know. It's like imagine if there's a circle with a little post in the middle of it, but rip out the top of the circle. So it's like 2 little crescents and then a post.
Okay, I think it is the one that's kind of similar to the HRM in some way, but HRM had no muzzle smoke, and the recoil last year worked better than it does in this game.
This has more recoil than an HRM for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I can see this frying if you're playing Rebirth. Same with the PPSH. The PPSH feels really good, like super, super close range. But the high fire rate, higher recoil, like the compact, I wouldn't want to have that gun at like 10 meters. It just feels like crazy.
Yeah.
Like the recoil is just nuts.
I think it's probably too risky for KBAM, honestly. Yeah. Cause once you get about 10 plus, I can usually control it because I'm on controller, but it gets a little, whoa, Nelly.
Whoa,
it's like you're riding a horse and it bucks. You're like, whoa. It's a little mixy. Gets a little mixy sometimes. But it cooks if you hit all your shots because, the fire rate's nuts. So
that makes sense.
I think it's kind of like the PPSH, but not as fast and unwieldy. So if PPSH is a little too much for you, compact's probably fine. If PPSH is way too much for you, you're not going to like the compact either because it's less, but it's not much less. So yeah. But I encourage you guys to try it or at least go look at some TTK charts. TrueGameData.com, by the way. Someone had asked me that on Instagram Reels. That's the website you can pull up TTK charts and shit. And then one other thing Cope said, and I haven't gotten to try it yet, so the Cope formula may hold up here, is the AK-74 as your assault rifle.
Wait, what is the Cope formula again?
The Cope formula says, it's almost a law of nature, that if Cope the Cum Cowboy, friend of the pod, ever says that a gun is good or fries, it is invariably dog shit.
Yeah. Okay.
And really bad. That's the joke. That's the meme. But that's been true a lot of times. However, on paper, the AK is nuts. It kills faster at literally every single range than the Cypher does. With chest shots or with combination shots. Sometimes a little faster than the Cypher, sometimes a lot faster. So the question is it in practice a faster time to kill? Meaning, is the extra recoil that it has so much more extra that you're going to be meaningfully missing more shots, making it actually effectively a slower time to kill? I don't know, but if you're running a gunfighter build, which most people do for their primary, you got a lot of slots to help with recoil. Vertical foregrip, compensator, recoil springs. Maybe usable. I don't know. But if it is usable with the recoil it has, could go bonkers. This is one gun that if I were on KBAM especially, I would be wanting to try. Because I think actually for primaries at long range, KBAM's easier to hit shots than controller generally.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It's possible because here's the thing now with the XM4 being no longer the meta gun. It doesn't matter what primary you have, nothing beams at long range in this game. It's not even, it's not like last year. It's not like Warzone 1. Past like 75 meters, if somebody's zooming all around, it's hard to hit shots consistently. It was not the case in Season 1 with the XM4. You hit every single bullet on some guy. You hit them through the wall because of the, the bullet pen and all that. Which actually, by the way, I haven't noticed that since we talked about it on Thursday. So I kind of, like I haven't noticed dying through thick of walls or anything. I wonder if like that one spot Jake died like just so happened to be bugged or something. Who knows?
I posted a clip when we were at Cargo, and I was getting wall banged through an oil rig. Maybe
it's just then people aren't trying it.
I think that's what it is.
They don't have tracker. Okay, so maybe it is still there. It's just it doesn't happen as often because people aren't tracking you through walls anymore unless they're cheating.
Yeah, right, exactly. I'm not 1,000% sure, but I'm fairly sure because you guys can go to the Clips channel in our Discord, and I'm getting wall banged through one of the fucking, I don't know if it's a crane, but it's like a giant metal cylinder tower is holding the thing up. I'm on the platform behind it, and I'm getting wall banged through it. So it was thick as fuck.
That clip. Yeah. Yep.
So I think it's just because since Tracker does not have the ping, even if you're wall banging, people can't do it as reliably anymore. Because if you just move, they're not going to know where you went anymore like they used to. And people stopped trying anyway because they had fixed it, and then they stealth added it again. That's my guess, but I'm not 1,000% sure. So
but kind of what I was getting at is you can't beam people at long range at all anymore. So like 75 meters honestly is like where it's pretty dang difficult to consistently hit shots now. So yeah, I'm almost at the point where it's like I wonder if I should just be using the AK and try to get that faster time to kill, because none of the guns have 0 recoil anymore. It's like even with the Model L, the Cypher, it's going to be the same with the AK. You can't really run zoom optics on it. You can't run it 3 times and consistently hit your shots. They just bounce too much. So it's like you're going to have to run a red dot. And so maybe the AK is the move for some of that, because you're just going to kill faster. You might hit a similar amount of shots. I don't know, but I'll have to try that more.
If you're going to be missing anyway, you might as well run the gun with faster time to kill. That's a good point. Yeah.
But Cypher feels good in general, so I think that's still just the move. But yeah, you can't beam people like you could in Season 1.
Yeah. Which is for the better, by the way.